Good evening and welcome back to the Ref's Opinion. It's been a long time. My goodness, must be 6 weeks or so. But I was saying to some people the other day, if we didn't have the World Cup to watch during the summer, we'd have, we'd have people suffering from all kinds of withdrawal symptoms as a result of no football. It just shows you how it affects our lives. But it's great to be back and welcome to the Ref's Opinion for a new season. Lots of things happened in the World Cup as well. There were lots of changes to the laws of the game, and we're going to be discussing them tonight. Now, I'm joined as usual by my now very good friend from the UK, former Premier League referee, former FIFA referee, former head of the PGMOL that was and is now called Pro Ref, I think. Keith, am I right, or something like
Yes.
that? Yeah. And the man responsible for introducing goal line technology. Keith, thanks very much for joining us once again.
Pleasure.
Were you like us, having withdrawal symptoms? We didn't have football for 2 weeks or so. Thank God
Well,
for the World Cup.
I was quite relieved, really. I've been kept very busy. I now write for flashcore.com and Breaking Media, so I was kept fairly busy writing articles on the World Cup, and a lot has happened even this week with the sort of World Cup scenario. I'm not getting into the politics of Infantino. That's for administrators and federations to sort out. What really concerned me was that the end of the final, the blowout of the players, the disgraceful scenes that we witnessed. And this week, of course, the FIFA disciplinary committee have come out, and Pedres, who was the instigators, had a 10-match ban. There are others that have had 9. Argentina Federation, for the next 2 games that they play, they can only have 50% of the spectators present. So they've clamped down on that. But I just hold the view that I think those disgraceful scenes at the end of a World Cup where it's just beamed around and many people who are actively involved in other sports suddenly sit down and want a relaxed and important occasion. Personally, I would have banned Argentina out of the next World Cup, but that's a personal view, not anything else. So it was quite interesting, but I'm pleased the Football League and the Premier League are back in action.
It wasn't such a beautiful game at the end of the World Cup. We are having a little bit of atmospheric, so it's a little bit of breaking up and so on. So I hope you'll bear with us out there. It is the first broadcast of the new season. They really were disgusting scenes, Keith. People were pointing fingers at the referee that maybe he wasn't strong enough to deal with on the field and during the game incidents that these unsavory scenes at the end of the game may not have happened if he had been stronger.
Yeah, I think that when you come to a final in any game, whatever level you're officiating at, you have to demonstrate authority. You have to demonstrate that you are in control, and I think sometimes we don't see that proactive, preventative approach to refereeing. We see reactive refereeing, and I think some of those situations may have been avoided. Who knows? But ultimately, at the end of the day, the players have to accept, the federations have to accept that it was their responsibility and it was on the players. The referee applied the laws of the game. I think I would have liked to have seen a greater level of authority, but he got through it. He got his medal. I think that we can all select another referee, and we can all think that another referee might have done better, and maybe that is the case.
Yeah. Now you very kindly sent me your thoughts and observations on various changes that have happened.
Mm.
During the World Cup, and we'll go through I'll keep talking. You're back again, Keith.
Yeah.
Refereeing changes before a ball is kicked. You said each week throughout the last 7 years since the introduction of VAR into the Premier League, I have witnessed the change in officiating. It has promoted doubt and with it hesitation in the decision-making process of the referee. You want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, I think that it's almost like too many cooks and you get the wrong plate of food. And I think one of the dilemmas has been that you want to work as teams and you want the consistency. One way that we overcame that and to improve that was to, I can remember sitting around and sort of saying, look, what I want to do is introduce teams of assistant referees to work with referees consistently so that it becomes a team ethic and the team is accountable and they'll start doing things naturally and trust will build. And that has been the case. And I would have liked to have seen that in terms of VAR, where the VAR is not an active referee, but a VAR specialist.
Yeah.
That is not going to happen. I don't see them ever making that particular change, which is a pity. But I do think there are times when you've got a senior referee. You've got a senior referee at Stockley Park and an up-and-coming younger referee, and it's almost like who's refereeing the game. And of course, I think we all recognise that there's been an overindulgence by VAR, and I think it's again been laid out very clearly by Roberto Rossetti in UEFA. In fairness, Howard Webb has laid out very clearly again about the level at which they want VAR to come in. And again, they're emphasizing clear and obvious errors. And I think that they probably spent the weekend or the weeks leading up to the start of the season actually trying to get a better approach and actually saying, leave that alone. Leave that alone. It wants to be something that is very obvious that they're going to come in. And therefore, I witnessed this weekend less interference from VAR. I thought the referees got off to a really good start. I think it's been a really good weekend for referees operating at the Premier League. And I thought Atwell in the Newcastle-Liverpool game was terrific. He was prepared to play some advantages. He managed the game very effectively. He didn't suddenly in added time start to switch off. His concentration was there. And he rightly pointed to the penalty mark. And somebody claimed, absolutely. Well, it was in the 96th minute and we only had 5 minutes of added time. Minimum added time is what is.
See, they don't understand that.
I know they don't.
They don't understand. And also, what were Newcastle doing, bringing on a sub in the 95th minute? If they hadn't, where the referee is obliged to add on an extra 30 seconds plus anything else. Game would have been
exactly
over.
The point. Exactly the point. So I think that if we look at the changes on the professional side, probably get over the fact that I like the fact that VAR is now in a position to rule out goals at set pieces if the foul was committed before the ball was in play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that is, if used sensibly by the referee,
And that's the word.
To reduce the amount of grappling inside a penalty area by awarding free kicks.
We'll come to that in a second.
By awarding penalty kicks.
Sorry, I'm cutting across you there because there is a break. Second yellow cards can now be overturned by VAR if a foul was incorrectly awarded.
Yes. That foul, by the way, has to be, doesn't it, a reckless challenge or something that is deemed stopping a promising attack, unsporting behaviour. And so, in that scenario, what we saw in the World Cup, and I think we've seen in Scotland at the weekend, in the Dundee derby, was incorrect application, in my opinion, of that scenario. So, what happened there in Dundee? In Dundee was a player was cautioned and given a yellow card, and it was incorrect. VAR came in, and the yellow card was handed to another player. And that other player, to be honest with you, clearly, in my opinion, had not committed an offence. So that was in the extreme. I think it was a major error, and no doubt Willie Collum, who does a great job in Scotland, will have sorted that out. So I think, Webber's also, these are things, the law is already there, but he's actually emphasising, that these would in America be called points of emphasis. So what he's saying is he wants a stricter control and application of law on grappling inside the penalty area. Watch this space.
Exactly. When is that going to happen, and how long has it been going on? And the most, not only frustrating, but the most irritating thing for me is looking at a referee marching into the penalty area, telling the players who are having a wrestling match to stop it, doesn't take 2 steps backwards, and they're at it again. Yeah. So, and at the risk of being boring and repetitive, said it on this show many times, it's one of two things. It's a free kick to the defending team, or it's a penalty kick to the attacking team. Very simple. Correct. And straightforward. This talking and total waste of time.
Absolutely.
Total waste. And are they going to do anything about it, do you think? I doubt it.
Well, I think that if, what we've also seen within the administration at the PGMOL ProRef is, of course, the merger of SG1 and SG2, which is, we were talking about that as a potential. Well, that's happened. Indeed. And what has happened now is that the head or the director of refereeing is now the Scottish guy, Hugh Dallas. So Hugh Dallas plays an important part in refereeing. He was the SG1 manager last year. So I think that what they've got to do, the PGMOL management, is effectively manage their referees to make certain that they are applying the law and they are penalising this out of the game, because that's the only way not to talk about it, threaten to do it. They've actually got to do it. So I think that
must have ruffled your feathers, did it, with Hugh Dallas coming down and taking over the referees?
Well, he's a very experienced official. There's no doubt about that. He was involved, I think, ran the line for Pierluigi Collina at a World Cup final. He only had a short spell, I think, as head of refereeing in Scotland. I think I know that it probably wouldn't have been my selection. I would have looked around former English referees to begin with. I mean, isn't it amazing now that the head of refereeing in Turkey is Anthony Taylor? We've just seen, last year Steve Bennett was head of refereeing at the Greek FA. Lee Probert was head of refereeing in the Middle East, and you had Ray Olivier doing his bit with Japan. So a lot of English guys who've been operating around the world.
What's the guy in Australia?
Oh, John Moss.
John Moss, yeah.
So I think there are plenty of people, but maybe Hugh Dallas last year came into the role and comes in with a good track record, but an independence that might be required. He's not connected to those referees, and he's not been their colleagues. So
maybe that's
that might have been the thinking.
Yeah, I was just thinking maybe on the one hand you're exporting all the experienced guys to other countries, and importing a guy who's also very experienced and very, very good, Hugh Dallas. So maybe an outsider maybe is the way to go. Keith, a couple of things on changes, throw-ins now.
Yes. So what we're seeing is the referee, first of all, has to manage this more effectively by, first of all, ensuring that when the player is in possession of the ball, he's satisfied that the player's in possession of the ball. What I am seeing in practice is, at that point, the referee blowing a whistle. Now, I think I'm always reluctant to advise referees to use the whistle. I always say use it sparingly, has a greater impact, etc. But what I am seeing in practice is they're blowing the whistle, the spectators are aware, and then they're going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And of course, if they go to 1, then the referee's going to blow again and he's going to award the throw-in to the opposition.
That's never happened before.
I think I've seen it happen once in one of the friendly games that I've been watching. Yeah.
Okay. So now, I'm not being asked this all the time on other radio stations as well. When does that 5 seconds actually begin?
At the point that the referee is satisfied that the player is in possession of the ball.
Okay, so let's do it in practical terms. The ball goes out of play. He goes over, let's say he picks up the ball that's sitting on a little thing there, and he picks that. Is he now in possession?
Yes.
So from that time, and I've counted them as you have, I'm sure.
Yeah.
10, 15, 20 seconds. And sometimes then dropping the ball for another player to take it, which could go to 30 seconds. So as soon as he picks that ball up, he's in possession. From that time, then the referee.
I mean, the law, what Errol happens here is that they've given the referee the license to determine when the player is in possession. So it's really, these are the things that they do that create inconsistency. But generally, I would have thought that Howard Webb and Hugh Dallas at the Premier League level will have made the point very clear as to defining accurately what possession is within a remit. So I think that's what the referee has to do. I think that he picks the ball up from the cone. I think what I want him to do is make a couple of strides, and he's now facing the field of play. He's ready, and I'm ready then to count. I'd just give him a little bit more than just picking up the ball from the cone. That's a personal view. But if he starts to creep down the line, then he's in trouble, isn't he? Because the
Sorry, Keith,
counting continues.
my apologies. I may be cutting across you because it's
No problem.
it's going in and out. It's going off air and it's coming back on again. Yeah. I wonder, I'm waiting for the first one to happen, that the referee, as soon as he picks up that ball, and the other thing, of course, are the players told this, that as soon as you put that ball into your hands and you're going to walk along and you're going to see her, that 5 seconds has already started.
Yes.
So are they waiting for the referee to count down? I mean, it's a bit like basketball, you know, they count 5. You get 5 seconds to get out of your half.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see that happen, and I hope it does happen.
Yeah. Well, in the pre-season and in the friendly games and at the team sheet exchange that takes place 1 hour before kickoff, the referee, I've no doubt, will have run through his interpretation, how they're going to interpret the law practically on the field of play. So I think the players will not be in any doubt about that particular law change.
Yeah, if I was in charge of the referees, I would have sent referees around. Maybe certainly SG2s, even SG1s.
Yeah, well, I mean, in effect, all the managers have to come to meetings pre-season with Howard Webb, and then often the PGMOL will invite a referee or suggest a referee goes into a club and talks to the players. And the clubs are really good at that. I mean, they were in my era, and I suggest they continue with that. And then we move on to goal kicks. And this is not the one in the hand where you've got the 8 seconds. This is one where a goal kick is awarded. The ball has gone out of play. They've effectively got 5 seconds to take the goal.
Sorry to cut across you. Again, when does that 5 seconds start?
Well, I suggest that the referee's got the opportunity, one, to manage the balls down on the field. He can recognise what's going off, and this gives them the power to suddenly, if you like, blow his whistle and then go 5, 4, and then, of course, in this situation, if the goalkeeper or the goal kick goes beyond 5 seconds, then a corner kick is awarded.
Okay, my comments are all over the place, so I'm just going to click on this to see if it comes up. It doesn't. I'm going to get a bit closer because it's gone. I can't really see it. Yeah. Okay. Now, the biggest problem, as far as I'm concerned, with anything around the box, be it goal kicks are fine and so on, but the taking of a corner kick, the same 5 second rule applies, yes?
I think that if the referee is managing it effectively, then you've caught me out, because I didn't think the 5 seconds applied at corner kicks. But again, I haven't got the IFAB rule in front of me. I'm just taking a look. Obviously, let me just try and get on just to clarify whilst we're on, because I think it's all good stuff. Laws of the game.
Yeah.
Let me have a look. Come on. I'm obviously a bit slow, forgive me. About the law. 1 to 17. I'm not so sure. Right, okay. Offences and sanctions. If the ball is in play, the kicker touches the direct corner kick, a penalty is awarded. A player mark correctly taken and allows for any other offence, the kick is retaken. I'm not so sure that 5 seconds actually is for corner kicks.
Yeah.
Glossary. No. Guidelines for match officials. No, I don't think it does. And I'm sorry to be hesitant on that.
Well, Brandon
try to
will
find out.
just come up and tell me. Brandon's a regular contributor to the show, and he says the 5 seconds does not apply to corner
Yep.
kicks or other
Yep.
free kicks.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon.
Thanks, Brandon. I consider myself told off.
Brandon is an expert on the laws of the game.
I consider myself
we
told
used
off.
to have, we used to have regular discussion. Great to hear from him. I was looking because you caught me out. I didn't think it was part of the law, and thankfully he's confirmed that's the case. The other one that this weekend there was a penalty kick and awarded, and there was a degree of encroachment by an attacker and defender at the same time into the penalty area. And I was asked the question, why wasn't the kick retaken? The law has changed, and now, of course, it's only retaken if it impacts on the goalkeeper. So again, something that we've done for years, and they suddenly sneak this odd change in. I don't think this is new. I think it's been there a bit, but that's another one that is interesting that we have to catch up with.
Yeah. So taking all of those, Keith, and the ones that are being applied in the Premier League, and some that are not, that were being used in the World Cup, surely that's going to lead to more inconsistency and confusion among fans and spectators. They'll say, well, we saw it in the World Cup for 6 weeks, and now you're not applying it in the Premier League. Who's the actual governing body? Is it the Premier League or is it the World Cup guys?
Well, we take our lead in England, the English FA and the Irish FA and Scottish FA take their lead from the laws of the game and the IFAB, but they also take a lead from UEFA. And Roberto Rossetti has been very clear in terms of, particularly around a hand over the mouth being a red card offence. And I generally believe that there was some backtracking by FIFA when they saw that practical application. So I think that is the major one that's not going to be applied in the Premier League. And I think that's the right approach in that situation. One of the other things to look out for that is going to be different a little bit in terms of the VAR operation is that we're going to see some post-match commentary and maybe in-match commentary about specific decisions. So the PGMOL pro ref Howard Webb has promised that there will be some dialogue, and part of that is opening up the debate, the discussion that the referee may have with a player. I think this is a dangerous precedent because we saw years ago a flurry of F words when David Ellery conducted that experiment. So we wait with bated breath. But the idea is to try to inform the fans more about what is going off. And then we're also going to see fairly quickly on what might be errors or not errors. We're going to have this panel that's going to review very quickly and come out with a written statement. So the poor old referee's got a sack of trouble on his back that makes life more difficult.
Keith, thank you very much again. It's our first show. There's been a lot of interference. I think it's atmospherics, and unfortunately, something happened with the comments. I just saw one or two and I couldn't quite read them. I know Brandon will get to them next week. I hope you'll join us then next week, next Monday, same time, 8 p.m. Thank you all for watching, and thank you especially, Keith, for joining the show. Thank you.
Thanks, Brandon.
Good night.
Good night.